What's up guys, Austin Newman here. I know the setup looks just a tiny bit different. I've been switching around a little bit over the last month until I kind of pick a good setup that I like, which I still have yet to really find the perfect setup. I'm working out of my apartment still, so until I get an office space or studio space, I'm going to be changing it around until I can find something that I really like. So stick with me in the meantime, but of course, before we dive into this video, if you're not subscribed to this channel, hit that subscribe button with post notifications on for more filmmaking and editing tutorials just like this one. And today we're going to be talking about the April release of Adobe Premiere Pro. This is something that kind of was shoved to the side since NAB 2018 is happening this week in Vegas, actually starting at the recording of today's video. There's some cool nuggets in this new update, and I'm going to be sharing some of my favorites and the highlights of this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into editing. Alright, so we're now inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. I've got my footage on my timeline that I'm ready to test out. This is my friend Cheyenne. She'll be helping us in this sample footage for all these new updates. And the first thing that I want to cover is the Lumetri Color panel. Lumetri Color is something I use quite a bit as a filmmaker here inside of Adobe Premiere Pro, and it's a great tool, so I hope you're using it as well for color grading. But right off the bat, we can see they've added like a new tab. I believe this was just color wheels before, but they've added match. This is a great feature. Coolest thing about this is you can do a comparison view now. So if you click this, you've got a reference and a current. So your reference, actually, this is your entire timeline here. So as we can see here, I've actually went ahead and graded this exact thing down the line here. So we see there's a difference between the reference, which is somewhere around here, because this is our full timeline, and this grade right here. Of course, I just applied my retro Citrus LUT. I didn't really change a whole bunch to it. But the greatest thing is that you can actually see a difference now, and you can even do a before and after using this little shot or frame comparison here. So if we were to go right here, for example, to where I haven't done anything to this, and I were to go down, and let's say maybe I just plotted a couple points here on the curves, and I wanted to maybe add somewhat of an S-curve to it. So we can make our changes. You can see the before and after. This is hugely helpful, especially for anybody who is doing any kind of color grading with Lumetri Color. Now, the other thing they've added is a master reset or effects button. So we can actually reset everything that we've done to this clip here. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now everything that we've done in Lumetri Color panel is completely reset. The other cool thing is if I did want to maybe manipulate this a good bit, if I wanted to just turn this off, I could turn it off from here now inside the Lumetri Color panel. Of course, you can go up here and turn it off in your effect controls, but now they've added it inside the Lumetri Color panel, so that's pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and reset that. And also in Lumetri Color, and probably the last thing I'm going to talk about inside the Lumetri Color panel, is ability to match different looks. So going back under color wheels and match. So if we wanted to change this one right here, which is our current, so this is where we're at right now, and this is our reference. So the reference point, once again, is the timeline. I want to go all the way to the end here where I've applied that LUT. So let's go right about here. Now we're going to hit apply match. What this will do is it's going to take this grade and the color scheme here on the left side from the reference point and apply it to this current clip that we have selected, which just says current up here. So as you can see, we've got some orange tones here. It didn't do as much with the darks, the highlights. It didn't change as much. But once again, it is a pretty cool feature. If I wanted to add a clip from a movie into my timeline, I wanted to base a grade off of kind of the color scheme that they use, then this is an awesome tool for filmmakers to be able to figure out what kind of grade your favorite filmmaker is using. Now, this next one's a pretty cool one. And if you're a vlogger or a travel filmmaker, you're going to find this one particularly useful if you're doing voiceovers or just vlogging in general. This is such an awesome feature to have inside of Adobe Premiere Pro, and that is the auto ducking feature. As you see, I've added some music and a little bit of dialogue. I put some test dialogue here under my footage. And what it's going to do is it's actually going to bring the sound down to a different level so you'll be able to focus more on the audio. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this here music, I'm going to go ahead and select that. And if you don't have Essential Sound inside your workspace, go up to Window, grab Essential Sound. I have mine populating over here. So this is a music clip, and let's go ahead and tell Adobe that this is a music clip. So we'll say music, and now we can apply a preset if we want. We're just gonna have it duck against everything. So basically, and here's our ducking tab here. So we'll just scroll this down, and we can see it's gonna duck against dialogue and music, sound effects, ambience, all kinds of things. We can change a couple of things, how much we want to reduce by. If we don't want to go all the way down, maybe just to like -18. We can say how fast it's actually going to fade, things like that. And then all you have to do is just click generate keyframes, and bam, we see it right here on our timeline. If we play through, we can actually hear the changes. This is to test the auto ducking system inside of Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2018 April update. And of course, the last thing that I want to touch on is some of the updates inside the Essential Graphics panel, something I use quite frequently here in Adobe Premiere Pro. So we have the Essential Graphics panel. I put it up here next to Effect Controls. If you don't have it, go to Window and you'll find Essential Graphics right there. And now what we want to do is if we just go over here, we could just create something new, text, shape, anything like that. For this demonstration, I'm going to create a shape. So let's just create a little rectangle and just kind of drag it out just a little bit right here. Let's make it stick out a little bit more. Just like do an ugly red of some sort. So what we can do from here is we can actually manipulate this entirely in this space within the Essential Graphics panel. We can change the scale and things like that. The cool thing about this is these features have always existed. What hasn't existed before is being able to actually keyframe. So you can actually select these icons and keyframe everything. So let's go ahead and keyframe the position starting from maybe down here, and then we'll play through a little bit and then we'll have it come up by just selecting another keyframe. It's already created a couple of keyframes in that situation, and this of course is not an animation I would stick with, but just so you know, you can now create animations inside of the Essential Graphics panel. And if you want to manipulate the entire graphic, you can just go to Effect Controls. You could still manipulate everything just by using this. All the keyframes that we just created there, if you wanted to manipulate some of those specifically, have now been created under Shape. You'll see that this will auto-populate under Effect Controls, and now we can manipulate with the transform properties here. So this is a really cool update. Make sure to definitely use this one in your next project as well. The other thing I want to talk about in the Essential Graphics panel that's useful is being able to actually throw a gradient on this image so you don't just have a flat color. Now we can go to fill, and we can actually change this from just solid to like a radial gradient or linear gradient. And now we've thrown a gradient on it. We can kind of manipulate where the gradient's coming from, how long the gradient is. But this is another helpful tool for those who are actually wanting to design in Premiere Pro without having to go to Adobe After Effects. So make sure to check this out if you're wanting to get into a little bit more animation, lower thirds, and other things like that inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So there's some really good nuggets inside of Adobe Premiere Pro, the April release, but of course this doesn't cover everything. If you want the full list of all of the updates, there may be some things that are useful to you in particular. I encourage you to check out the link I've listed below, which is directly to Adobe's site. You can see all of the changes that they've made to the April release. But that'll do it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to give us a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more filmmaking and editing tutorials just like this one with post notifications on. And until next time, guys, we'll see you later.